tuned your guitar down a half step to play along with some classic Van Halen, but it still sounds off. It's not your ears, and no, it's not your playing. The reality is that most of Eddie's studio recordings with the original lineup were tuned to pitches just slightly off from E flat. And unless you're using one of the exact settings I'm about to show you, your guitar's tuning is never going to sound in sync with the album's. I've spent many hours over the years trying different methods to change the pitches on my MP3s and audio tracks, trying to tweak my own guitar's tuning, reading interviews with Eddie online, scouring the internet for forums and advice, and actually striking the jackpot once. I'll get to that a little bit later. But today, I'm going to walk you through how to load Van Halen's actual tunings into your Peterson StroboStomp HD tuning pedal. There are several of these presets available, but today I'm going to focus on one of Eddie's go-tos that showed up repeatedly on studio recordings and seemed to be the main one he used for live performances in the David Lee Roth era. So let's dive in. Alright, I'm going to do a brief overview of the pedal here. I'll get more into the actual specifics on the pedal in a different video, probably next week. Because today the primary focus and goal is to add a Van Halen tuning preset, and so I don't want to get down any rabbit holes. So as far as controls and buttons, it's a pretty simple unit. You got a nice display screen here. It's got two displays, the tune screen, which is what turns on by default when you click the pedal on, and then the settings screen, which you have to actually proactively push buttons to get into. You got your stomp switch, which toggles the muting of the pedal on and off, and then there's some settings that it also turns on and off. Again, you have to be in the setting for that to take place. And then you got four buttons, two on each side. You got menu up and menu down here on the left, and on the right side you got value plus and value minus. Your guitar cable goes in on the right, pedal outputs on the left. Now when it comes to changing the settings, pretty much I think everything that you can do with the onboard controls here can also be done on the website when your pedal is connected, and that's how I'm going to be doing things in this video today. Frankly, doing it with all the buttons is a little bit of a hassle, and I'm going to do a video on that anyway, just so y'all can see how it's done. But I would probably just straight up right now recommend if you can do it online, you'd be better off. All right, so what's the big deal about a strobe tuner? Why are they important? Well, to put it simply, they're the most precise tuner you can get, accurate to within a tenth of a cent. And if you don't know what that means, in Western music, the chromatic scale has 12 distinct tones, and they're all separated by what we call a semitone. On your guitar, that's the same thing as one fret, and each of these semitones can be split into 100 cents, the same way we split our dollar into 100 cents or 100 pennies. You know how you go fill up at the gas station and your gas price might be like $2.76.9 or whatever, but you buy a gallon, they got to charge you $2.77 because we don't have 0.9 or whatever, 0.1 cents in money. In tuning, we do, and this strobe tuner can handle that level of accuracy. Now, it's well documented that Eddie used a Peterson strobe tuner. I know there's going to be arguments and back and forth in the comments. That's fine, you guys go ahead and have at it. There's plenty of photos of him backstage with one of these. Obviously, he had a mechanical version back in the day, and I'm not saying that to take anything away from his ear or his genius, but facts are facts, and visual evidence goes a long way with me. So he's also got his own profile on the Peterson Tuners website, and while there's a number of players on there, it's not like everybody's on there, so it's noteworthy that they mention him and give him his own little page. And then he also references strobe tuners in his 1980 guitar play interview with Joss Obrecht, which you can find on YouTube. I'll link it in the description. There's like 6 tapes worth of that. It's all, I think, like the full version as opposed to what printed in the magazine. It's pretty cool though to listen to. Now I will say in that interview he claims to actually not have used a strobe tuner. Specifically he says in the studio, but I'm not buying it, and I'm not going to get into all my reasons why today, or we'll get off task. Maybe I'll do a video on it in the future, but you got to keep in mind this is also the time he was telling people he turned his variac up to 140 volts, and we all know now that the truth is he turned it down to 90. So Just consider the source a little bit, you know what I'm saying? All right, before I move on, I'm curious if you've ever tuned your guitar to play along with a favorite band or a favorite record. You know, you get it tuned and you're like, man, it still don't quite sound right. It doesn't have to be Van Halen, any band. Just let me know down in the comments. So the secret here lies in what we call sweetened or offset tunings. Conventional tuning, which is what most people are accustomed to, is called equal temperament. Since each semitone or fret is worth 100 cents basically, and most of the strings are tuned 5 frets apart, aside from the G and B that are 4 frets apart. Basically, we can say all the strings are tuned 500 cents apart, with the B and the G being 400 cents apart. Now we can offset the notes by adjusting their actual pitch anywhere from 1 to 99 cents, sharp or flat. And if we do that equally across each string, we still technically have equal temperament, you know. I mean, the overall pitch would be altered from the norm, but the relation between the notes would remain the same. However, we also can sweeten the tuning by not offsetting each string by the same amount, and thereby altering the sense values or the intervals between the strings. This is what causes the sweeter and more pleasing sound, as it helps some intervals and chord voicings, which can tend to sound harsh, become more in tune consistently up and down the fretboard wherever you play them. So if you just tune to true E flat, the reason your guitar isn't going to match the Van Halen recordings, it's really twofold. First off, you are not matching the actual pitch of any of the strings because of the sense offset, but you're also missing, more importantly, the sweetening factor of the intervals between the strings not quite being what you're accustomed to them being. All right, so let's hop over to the internet here, and I'll show you the steps to find these Van Halen sweetened tunings and install them into your Peterson tuner. And if you don't have one of these yet, I'll have a link in the description, and yes, it is an affiliate link, so no extra cost for you, small commission for me. I would totally appreciate it if you are going to get one of these, if you'd use that link. By the way, if you want to jam this authentic tuning with some real Eddie riffs and licks, I've got a free set of tabs for you to check out too. Just type tabs in the comments and I'll get that right out to you. So let's head on over to petersontuners.com. I could just click this shortcut here, but that might take me right to the connection thing, and I want to show you how to get there. So I'm just going to go to petersontuners.com, get rid of that part. So this will take us right to the home page. I'm going to tell you two things up front. It matters what browser you use. I like Firefox, but I guess this is not compatible with Firefox, so I'm using Chrome. And as soon as I connect to the Peterson Connect thing, it'll show us what the options are. But you could, Microsoft Edge also works, and there were a few others. We'll see that in a minute, though. And then the second thing is you need to have your tuner registered in order for this to work. I found that out the other day when I was doing my trial run for this video. You'll need your serial number, which that's no problem. That's on the back of the pedal. You need your date of purchase and your place of purchase, just an FYI. I had bought my pedal over 1.5 years ago. Never got around to doing this part, and thankfully I'm a little bit neurotic, so I don't toss any guitar-related receipts, so I was able to find it. So then what we do, you need to connect this with a USB cable, and this is not supplied with the pedal. So what you need is a micro USB. And let's see if I can, I don't know if you can be able to see that, or it's probably going to get all blurry. But it's micro USB is what goes into the pedal on what looks like, I guess, what would be the top as you're looking at it. I tried to use the wrong kind of cord when I did this the first time. There's another one that looks quite similar that's called mini USB, but that one's a little bit taller, I guess, in its profile. And then the other end, I can't tell you what that's got to be because it's going to be whatever's compatible with your computer. Mine is USB-A. So the Peterson Connect thing is under Tools, and then you go to Peterson Connect. Okay, so once you have registered your pedal, and then you get it connected, it should, the website should recognize it once you get it connected. You might have to do find device the very first time you do this. I can't remember, but I have another one that I got to register, so I'll note that down when I'm doing that video for that one. That's my headstock Peterson tuner. So this works with Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Opera, Brave, and Vivaldi. I don't know what those are. Maybe like Apple or Linux or something. So it does say here my StroboStomp is connected. And then down here, this is where you can register. But if it's not registered, I think it's gonna, I seem to remember mine just popped up and it was right in my face like, oh, you gotta register your pedal if you want to use this. You can do configuring here. You can design custom sweeteners. That's going to be a whole different video topic. I don't even know how to do that yet, but I will learn it. And then we got the user trading post. This is where we're going to be hitting today. You got a lot of the same choices right here. Configure, quick configure, check for updates. I just updated mine the other day, so it should be fine. You can reset the pedal to factory configuration. So let's go over to the trading post. Okay, once we're in the user trading post, what we want to do is we want to go to the shared user sweeteners, guitar and bass. And we don't want these uncategorized ones. Those are, I don't know, I didn't see anything interesting in there. Now what you want to do is find the preset you want, and you know, without like, you're going to have to just go through these and see what they are, honestly. Unless, you know, if you're looking like for Van Halen stuff like I am, well, I can tell you pretty much anything that says Alan Garber is going to be good stuff and what you want to go for. He's the one that I found on a forum years ago. Great forum. I'm linking that in the description too, because you got to check it out if you're into this kind of thing like I am. And if you're watching this video, I'd say there's a good chance you are. But all the presets I'm interested in, for the most part, are his. There were a couple other ones that were a little bit interesting. Today what we want is this one called 77L. And so what I just did there, I clicked this little letter I. That's for more info. And it tells, I mean, we already saw who it's by. This little number here says how many people are using the preset. This tells when it was created and when it was last modified. Then there's a little info. Alan's good about putting this stuff in. Notice what it says. This was Eddie's default live tuning from 77 to 84. So basically the whole time with Dave. I mean, you know, from around the time they were getting their record deal until the end of the golden era. And then it's also used on a handful of studio tracks. Ain't Talking About Love, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, the intro for Women in Love, Out of Love Again, Atomic Punk, Feel Your Love Tonight. And there's a few others too. I think I want to say Romeo Delight maybe uses this off of Women and Children First. Beautiful Girls, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so this is one of the more often used ones. But if you look at, like I said, most of the ones that say Alan's name are probably going to be a Van Halen tuning. And you can click the little I and it'll say, this is for Ain't Talking About Love. Now again, if you cross-reference, I think that one we were just looking at might have mentioned that it's Ain't Talking About Love. Yeah, so there's a little bit of overlap, but, you know, whatever. But Alan's been doing this for a long time, so, I mean, I can see where, you know, he finds what the presets should be, and then maybe some time goes by and he realizes that, oh, this actually covers a bunch of them, but he already did the other ones, you know what I mean? So, great work by Mr. Garber. He definitely matches my enthusiasm for all things Van Halen detail-wise. So now if this is the first custom preset you're adding, and I'm guessing it is if you're watching this video, your tuner is going to create a brand new configuration, which basically just means a new custom group of settings, presets, etc. I reset mine to factory settings before shooting this video, so I'd have a clean slate to work with. I only had a few on there anyway, so it's no big deal. And, you know, it looks like I'm going to be talking about this for a little bit. Never hurts to have the practice. I'm kind of learning this right along with you. Back to this preset. The way you add it to your pedal, there's two ways. You can either click Add to My Tuner Now, or you can push this little plus button over here. So I'm gonna click it down here just because, and then it's gonna ask which one of your devices do you want to add it to, which is kind of silly. I mean, I only got one plugged in, so. And then it goes through and it does this little graphic up in the corner to show that it's working on it. Now my tuner is synchronized and up to date. So now let's go, if I go over to configure settings, it'll go back to this other page. And now it shows my, here, describe configuration, USR. So this did not exist before. This is new. Okay, I could change this if I wanted to, but I don't need to. User is fine. Like, I'm only going to have this one other configuration, right? I'm not going to be doing a bunch of weird stuff. Okay, so we just added that preset, and now it's going to be A/B test time. All right, I'm going to go through those intro chords to Somebody Get Me a Doctor one more time with the track this time so you can hear the difference. First, my guitar will be tuned just to that built-in Peterson sweetened guitar tuning, and I'll show it on the tuner that you can see it's in tune. And then after that, I'll retune my guitar to that preset, the 77L that we just added to the pedal, and I'll show that on the tuner again. And then I'll play it with the track again, just those intro chords. And then you should be able to hear the difference. If you don't notice the difference between the tunings when I play with the track, it doesn't mean you never will. Your ear may just still be developing that discernment. It can take time. Okay, real quick before I tune to that sweetener that we installed on the pedal, I'm going to just go through the strings so you can see that, because I just changed the pedal to be in that tuning preset. So now I'm going to pick through each string so you will see that according to that preset, my strings are noticeably flat. I'll retune now to that 77L preset, and then we'll run through those chords one final time. All right, now you can see the notes as I play them on the strobe tuner with that preset active. And now with that retuned, let's try this preset again against those intro chords on Doctor. All right, to me that sounded way better. I mean, that sounded totally locked in as far as I'm concerned. I'll be covering more of these Van Halen presets in future videos, and there could even be some new ones yet that I uncover. You'll be the first to know when I do. I also have a Peterson headstock strobe tuner. I'll have to demo that one in a future video, as well as show you how to personalize your configuration on this StroboStomp HD. If this video helped you finally get that Van Halen tuning to actually match the recording, hit that like button for me. It does help my channel. If you want to go even deeper into the real Van Halen tuning, check out this next video where I go into a lot more detail. Watch that one now.